Welcome back to the channel, where we explore the true factors that drive a car, or, in this case, what makes your wallet cry. We're discussing the Toyota Land Cruiser today, that iconic off-road vehicle with unrivaled capability and a commanding presence. I've driven the newest model for a while, taking it on some light trails and highways, and I even got my hands dirty wrenching on one during a recent project. With its smooth V6 turbo engine producing 409 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque, this beast handles rough terrain like a dream. It has enough grunt to tow up to 6,000 pounds or power through mud. Even though I adore its adaptive suspension and full-time 4xD system, which easily absorbs bumps, the drive isn't the main attraction. The money is. Important information about the sometimes disregarded financial costs of owning a Toyota Land Cruiser is provided. Its complete cost of ownership, which goes beyond the original purchase price, is revealed. Let's bust the myth right out of the gate. For many buyers, sticker shock is just the beginning. The base trim of the 2025 Land Cruiser starts at about $57,000, but loaded models can cost over $75,000. That's a hefty upfront hit. But hey, it's Toyota reliability, right? False. Many people believe that signing the dotted line is the last step. The perceived value versus actual financial commitment is a huge blind spot. Legendary durability, cutting-edge safety technology like Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 with its proactive driving assistance, and a luxurious cabin with heated and ventilated seats are all included. But the recurring expenses? They approach like a cunning off-road surprise attack. We're about to expose the hidden layers that transform this icon into a money pit for the unaware. Trust me, after driving one for a couple hundred miles and swapping out some bushings in the garage, I saw firsthand how the indestructible rep doesn't mean free to own. Moving on to what hits you right after you drive it off the lot. For these engines, it's a must, and the expenses mount up quickly. At current prices, that twin-turbo V6 will increase your fill-ups to about $80 to $90 every 400 miles because it runs best on 91 octane. Compared to typical gas guzzlers, you're looking at an additional $500 to $700 over a year's worth of 12,000 miles. Often undervalued, higher value, higher risk, higher premiums. Expect to pay between $2,000 and $3,000 a year for a full coverage policy on a new Land Cruiser, particularly if you plan to off-road or live in an area with a high rate of theft. After I added it to my fleet, my quote came to $2,400, which is, yikes, 50% more than my daily driver. Remember the sting of luxury car taxes every year. Sales tax alone on a $60,000 model costs between $4,000 and $5,000 up front in most states, and annual fees for larger SUVs like this 5,500-pounder can reach $500 or more. A swarm is made up of all the tiny stings. Now, the part that really tested me when I worked on mine. Routine servicing is increased by locating skilled mechanics and distinctive parts. Due to the high-capacity filter and synthetic requirements, oil changes at a dealer cost between $150 and $200. I performed a basic tune-up on my own, but where can I find original parts for the crawl control system or locking differentials? That will cost you 20 to 30% more than a typical Toyota. As they age, even Land Cruisers require major suspension, driveline, and electronics overhauls. A complete suspension overhaul should cost $5,000 to $10,000 after 100,000 miles because the heavy-duty shocks and bushings deteriorate under the strain of all that torque. According to my experience, the electronics, such as the multi-terrain select system, are reliable but expensive to fix if they malfunction. Upgrades and possible recovery expenses are expensive, but the appeal of adventure is pricey. Lift kits or skid plates, $2,000 to $5,000 with ease. Additionally, towing costs can reach $500 per tow if you high-center it on a trail, as I nearly did on a test run. Repairs for bent frames or axles are possible. That locking center diff saved me once, for example. Spend at least $3,000. Thinking long-term? Here's where it gets real. Even though it is renowned for holding its value, the percentage of the original cost that is lost is still significant in absolute terms. You're still down $12,000 to $18,000 on a $60,000 purchase because a Land Cruiser holds roughly 70 to 80% after 5 years. That's real money, but not bad for an SUV. Future demand for thirsty luxury SUVs may be impacted by changes in the market and growing EV adoption. In a world that is pushing electric vehicles, its combined fuel economy of 17 LPG is a gas hog. As incentives for EVs increase, resale may decline. The Eco Thunder is also being stolen by hybrids. The cumulative cost of maintaining a car for decades is frequently overlooked by the forever car mentality. Maintenance alone could cost between $15,000 and $20,000 over a 10-year period. I adore how my 200-mile dirt road loop felt indestructible, but it's important to budget for those expensive things. So, let's wrap this up and see if the Cruiser's worth the squeeze. A comparative analysis of initial and total ownership. Purchase price of $60,000 plus $5,000 in taxes and fees equals $65,000 up front. More than 5 years. The total comes to about $110,000 after adding $10,000 for fuel, $12,000 for insurance, $8,000 for maintenance, and $15,000 for depreciation. The sticker is almost doubled. Are you investing in prestige or capability? The joy is priceless if you're conquering trails on a weekly basis, as I did during my test drive, when the adaptive cruise and bird's eye view camera made it feel invincible. But for commuting in the city, prestige is prioritized over functionality, and when debt accumulates, the emotional high subsides, recommending less expensive options for comparable requirements or proving the Land Cruiser's worth for certain use cases. The Jeep Wrangler, which starts under $35,000 and has lower fuel and insurance costs, is an excellent option for off-road royalty on a budget. For a luxury feel with comparable capabilities but shared parts, consider the Lexus GX. The Land Cruiser is unrivaled, though, if you require bomb-proof towing and international adventure cred, such as transporting equipment to far-flung locations. Viewers, what are your thoughts? If this saved you from a bad purchase, please share your Land Cruiser stories below and hit like. Until we meet again.